to the ball game. Take me out to the
Good morning and welcome to Take Me Out to the Ball Game as we get you rolling in the world of sports in just a few minutes. All right. We all know that today is the Field of Dreams game, so let's get that rolling. It will be at 7 o'clock Eastern. That will be televised on Fox. That's the big Fox. That's not FS1, anything like that. So we are going to be set for that. Obviously, everybody's going to be dialed into that game. You also got a bunch of really good matchups in Major League Baseball to start the day out. So let's go ahead and dive into that real quick. On the scoreboard last night, the Atlanta Braves had a walk-off 3-run shot in the bottom of the 11th inning to beat the Cincinnati Reds 8-6. They were down 6-5 down to their last out, and they get the walk-off shot. Cardinals win. Yankees beat the Royals. Red Sox 20-8 over the Rays. Now, take one thing into consideration. Both teams put the schlubs in the last inning of play. So there's about 15 extra runs that weren't essentially scored legitimately, but the Red Sox did come out and pound the Rays early in the game, and Eovaldi looked great. Brewers blanked the Cubs. The Cubs are just at this point a double-A squad. Mets come back and rally against the Nationals. Nationals are probably a high AAA squad right now. They still have some talent, but not enough. They got out to a big lead and they blew it. They will play a doubleheader today. Game 2 was rained out, so they will play a doubleheader today beginning at noon. You're going to have a true doubleheader of the 7 innings apiece. All right. Astros win. Marlins blanked the Padres. Who would have seen that? And the Dodgers beat the Phillies. And we'll get into the standings here in 1 second. Tigers, A's, Blue Jays, Giants, and Mariners won. You did not hear your team did not win. Okay, let's go to the standings real quick as we're getting here in the dog days of summer, and this is where the divisions are won and lost. The Red Sox are now 4 games back of Tampa. Yankees, 6 games back of Tampa in the AL East. White Sox commanding 10.5 game lead over the Indians, and the Astros still 2 up on the A's. The Phillies and the Atlanta Braves are now in a flat-footed tie for the first place of the National League East. The New York Mets are just 1 game behind that. Now, the New York Mets have played 2 less games than Philly and Atlanta. So they will be making one of those up today, and Braves will be playing the Reds again. That's at 5 o'clock Eastern. And the Phillies and Dodgers will also play again. And we'll get into the full scoreboard here in 1 second. Brewers 8 games over Cincinnati, and the Giants 4 games over LA, 8 games over the Padres. Holy cow. Padres are just done as far as the division is concerned, but they still lead the wild card. Now, both the Dodgers and Giants are on 4-game winning streaks. It's one of the reasons why the Padres have free fallen. I don't think there's any way in hell that they get back into it as far as the division. The wild card, they've got to start staying focused because the Reds are only 4.5 behind them. Even with that said, and although I still think it's too much of a long shot for the National League East to get a team in, Philly and Atlanta are only 6 back of the Padres. So if the Padres were to absolute free fall, pull a like a Cubs a couple of months ago where they lost 10 in a row, it could get hairy. So they've got to get back up off the mat. All right, let's get back into the scoreboard for today. And today you're going to have at 12:35, you got the Cardinals, Pirates, but the games of interest. Rays are at the Red Sox at 4:10 Eastern. Hook is on the mound for Boston. Drew Rasmussen for the Rays. Tampa, 4 games up on the Red Sox. Braves and Reds will conclude their 3-game series. Mueller versus Gutierrez. And the Dodgers and Phillies, they'll play at 1 o'clock. Suarez to the mound for the Phillies. They have not named a starter for the Dodgers as of yet. Stroman, by the way, is going to pitch in the second game for the New York Mets today. And the Blue Jays will send Jose Barrios to the mound. Tonight, Andrew Heaney versus Lance Lynn is what it looks like it's going to be. Rodon was supposed to be the starter. He is on the IL, so Lance Lynn will take the mound. That game will be on Fox, and it should be one hell of a ball game. We're going to try to make these a little quicker than normal because basically trying to get you to the world of sport in a flash. So couple of things we'll hit with the news and notes in the NFL. Dak Prescott, he's throwing again, and Carson Wentz, his boot is off. But there's still a lot of rumblings saying that the Bears may end up releasing Foles, but if not, they're trying to trade him, and he really wants to go play for the Colts. All right. The Field of Dreams game today. Why is this an important game? Well, it's the movie, right? They're recreating the movie scene in the Iowa cornfields. They're going to be playing in the Iowa cornfields. There's not going to be a true center field wall. You're not going to have fans behind there. You're going to see nothing but corn. There's only like I think 8,000 fans that are actually going to be in attendance. This should be a lot of fun. Now you're going to see a lot of stars at this game. That's going to be a lot of fun too. But I'm excited to see what Fox does with this because they usually do a really good job as far as, all the graphics and whatnot. So I'm sure it's going to be a really cool intro. Me and my wife are looking forward to it. And we will definitely react to it tomorrow. Now, on this date in history, normally I pick something that actually happened in this date in history, but I figured I would hit Shoeless Joe Jackson. Shoeless Joe Jackson, which is the reason why this movie was realistically created, or it was built around. Shoeless Joe Jackson was a lifetime 356 batter. Now that's third all time in Major League Baseball. 1,700 hits, almost 1,800, 785 RBI, and that is in the dead ball era. It's also a shortened career. He was born in South Carolina. He got the measles as a young kid, was paralyzed for a couple of months. He ended up starting playing in mill games in South Carolina, which mill games were essentially pickup games. And during one of the mill games, and look, these games back in the day, they had a lot of fans would come out to them. You didn't have television. You didn't have radio. So you would go out and you would watch your local guys go out and play. And so that's why baseball became so big so quickly in the United States. During one of the games, he lost his shoes, or actually took them off, would be more accurate, because he had blisters on his feet. He had just bought some brand new cleats, and he was like, to hell with this. I'm going to play without the cleats. And so he played the rest of the game without the cleats, and one of the hecklers started calling him Shoeless Joe. And the quote was, you shoeless son of a gun, you shoeless son of a gun. And kept calling him shoeless. By the end of the game, he was Shoeless Joe. That nickname stuck. It never left him all the way to Chicago. And so he played for the Indians from 1910 to 1915. He originally started with the Philadelphia A's, Connie Mack's Philadelphia A's in 08 and 09, and then ended up with the White Sox from 1915 to 1920. 1919 was the famous thrown World Series against the Cincinnati Reds, where gamblers paid them to throw the World Series. But here's the thing that will always stick is this. It's on record that shows Shoeless Joe Jackson denied payment twice from a gambler of $5,000, which, by the way, was twice his yearly salary at the time. 2 times he rejected it. Now, the report later said that the money was thrown on his floor in his hotel room, but that could never be confirmed or denied. There was an attempt by Shoeless Joe Jackson to meet with the owner, Charles Comiskey, of the White Sox, to talk about the fact that there was a coup to throwing the World Series. Comiskey stood him up. In the actual trial, it was because Shoeless Joe had little money. It was the team lawyer, the Chicago White Sox lawyer, that actually was his defending lawyer. And so with all that being said, he never had a shot in hell to begin with. Now, he was banned for life. And of course, the famous line after that was by kids right outside the courthouse, "Say it ain't so, Joe, say it ain't so." There's a couple of other versions, but that's the gist of it. That's what you always heard as a kid. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. My take on it is this. He never admitted it, even to his dying days, that he actually threw the World Series. He hit the only home run in the World Series. He hit at an incredible clip. If you would have voted back then, he would have been the MVP. Even though they lost the World Series, he was the most outstanding player, if not the most valuable player. You could never show where Shoeless Joe actually threw the game. The fact that he tried to meet with Comiskey is even more evidence that this is why a lot of fans believe that he didn't do it. Now, a lot of fans do believe he did it, whatever. Here's my take on it. It's been 100 damn years. Whether he did or he didn't, Shoeless Joe Jackson belongs in the Hall of Fame. If you're going to pound the table for Pete Rose, who has admitted to betting on baseball, he claims he never betted against his team, but who the hell knows if that's even true because he lied so much. But if you're going to let Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame, and at this point, I think you should, it tells the story of Major League Baseball. And hell, that's been over 30 years. Remember, this movie came out about the time that the scandal of Pete Rose was hitting. This is one of the reasons why it resonated so much in America. So if you're going to champion him to get in, you got to put Shoeless Joe Jackson in. It's enough already. Put him in. It tells the story. If you want to put down below what is rumored, that is fine. But you got to put Shoeless Joe in. And are you waiting for Pete Rose to die? Put his ass in the Hall of Fame. It's enough already with the saving the sanctity of the game. When they started shooting steroids in their butt in the 80s and into the 90s and the early 2000s, the sanctity of the game, as you like to say, it was out the damn window. All right, we will see you tomorrow. Have a great day and check out the game. Field of Dreams game. Be a kid again. We'll see you.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd.